we've received word that the online paid service will cost between 2,000 and 3,000 yen. At the current exchange rate, that equates to about $17 to $25 or $26, although exactly how much it's going to be in US and European markets is yet to be seen. Now, this is a great price because PlayStation Plus currently costs about $60 a year, and with it you get lots of free games, lots of free discounts, all kinds of stuff. When Nintendo came out and said that they were charging for online, everyone kind of assumed it would also be $60. And then when they came out and said that you were getting one virtual console game that you could only play for 1 month, everyone said, wow, this sounds like a ripoff. I can't believe this is crazy. But now that it's only going to cost between $15 and $25, it's not that big a deal. If it's on the low end and equates to about $17 per year, that's less than $2 a month and gets you at the very least one virtual console game for that month. Buying virtual console games costs at the cheapest end about $5 a pop, so this is still a great deal in the long run. So the Nintendo Switch specs have been released on the Nintendo website officially. So let's dive in and take a look at what the Nintendo Switch has in store for us. First of all, we have the size. The size of the Switch is 102 by 239 by 13.9, and at its thickest, if you include the analog sticks, it's at 28.4. Now this is of course very small. It's much smaller than the Wii U gamepad, a little bit bigger than the 3DS XL, and it's a very good size to be portable and yet powerful at the same time. The weight of the Switch tablet by itself with no Joy-Cons is approximately 300 grams, while with the Joy-Cons it's 400 grams. So basically the entire package, including the Joy-Cons, is less than 1 pound. This is great news for people who are going to be taking it on the go, playing on the train, on the bus, whatever it is, because it's very small and it's also very light. So hopefully when you're in bed at night and you're playing the Switch and you drop it on your face, it won't hurt that bad. Now comparing the weight to other hardware looks very interesting because the tablet itself, not sure who's going to use the tablet only by itself, but if you choose to do so, that's fine. It's a little bit heavier than every other controller, but it's lighter than pretty much every other tablet we have. Even with the Joy-Cons, the tablet is smaller and lighter than the Wii U gamepad. I personally played a lot of games exclusively on the gamepad, and I never thought it was too big or too heavy. So the fact that the Switch is even smaller and lighter just means it's going to be even easier to play and take on the go. Now further down, Nintendo gives us a great old epic troll by telling us that the CPU/GPU is a customized Tegra processor. Yes, we've known this for a long time. We had leaks and rumors going back, a year or so now. So the whole battle between Maxwell and Pascal, and is it X1, X2, what is it? I guess we're never gonna know until, of course, March 3rd when someone buys the Switch and opens it up and lets us know exactly what's inside. Until then, the argument continues. The internal memory on the Switch is, of course, 32 gigs. Now, this isn't really that surprising. It was the same on the Wii U. If you're someone who plays mainly physical, this isn't really gonna mean a whole lot to you. But if you're part of the ever-growing group of people who go strictly digital, 32 gigs is not going to last you very long, especially as games get bigger and more complex. Or if you're planning on downloading a whole bunch of virtual console games, you could see that internal memory drying up real quick. The video output, just like we've already known, is 1080p 60 FPS when docked and 720p when it's in handheld mode. No surprises there. As we knew from the Jimmy Fallon video, the Switch uses USB-C. Now this of course allows for very fast data transfer and very fast charging. It's nice to see Nintendo getting out ahead of everyone else in terms of hardware and using USB-C on their hardware. Not a lot of people are using USB-C right now, so it's really great to see Nintendo at the forefront of this particular part of hardware innovation. Now, a very important point here is, of course, the micro SD slot. This is important because, for example, when the Vita launched, it was great hardware, had great games, it was very powerful, it was really great, but the one big pitfall that caught a lot of people was that you had to buy proprietary SD cards, and they were charging 2 or 3 times as much as normal market value. Not only did you have to pay $200 or $300 for the hardware, but you also had to pay another $70-80 just to have enough memory to even play a game. Nintendo was taking a very smart approach by allowing you to use any old micro SD card you have, and they support pretty much every type. Now this is great because right now you can buy a very good 64GB micro SD card on Amazon for about $20. So if 32 gigs of internal memory is not enough for you, it's not going to cost you a whole lot of money to upgrade really quick. You can get 64, 128, 256 gigs for $50 or so. So it's really not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a cost increase and allows you the freedom to kind of switch in and out. In fact, you probably have a lot of micro SD cards just sitting around your house right now anyway. So it's just one less thing to worry about when you're taking your system on the go. The battery's listed at 4,310 mAh. Now what that exactly means is not so important, but we can compare it to some other bits of hardware to get some perspective. For example, the new 3DS XL has 1700 mAh and gets about 3 to 7 hours of life. The Vita has 2200 mAh and also gets about 3 to 5 or 6 hours of battery life. Now, the Switch has double that at 4,310 mAh, but still gets 3 to 5-ish hours. Now, of course, there's a lot of factors that go into how long a battery lasts, but it is interesting to compare the battery life and the power of the Switch versus some other hardware. So all in all, the specs are not very surprising. Even without the leaks and the rumors, we could have guessed at a lot of this stuff. Of course, more than hardware, the most important thing is the games. Reggie talked with Pro Jared about the third-party support. We all know that the most important part of Nintendo going forward is third-party. Of course, Nintendo first-party makes great games. They make some of the best games on any console in any generation, but they can't make them fast enough to justify buying their hardware if it's to be used as only a first-party device. The Wii U showed exactly this. The Wii U has some fantastic games, but we only got one of those games every 4 to 5 months. It just wasn't enough. The drought was too big for consumers to justify buying a Wii U, and a lot of people regretted it, even though the games were great. So with the Switch, the drought needs to be shortened or non-existent. There needs to be constant flow of third-party and first-party games. Now, addressing this, Reggie said the following: "This business is pretty simple. What third parties want are a large growing install base, a development environment that's easy for them to work in. They want the ability to monetize their content, whether on the initial sale or downloadable content. That's what they want. And we were not able to deliver that fully on the Wii U. We are going to be able to deliver that fully with Nintendo Switch. Certainly, we've seen tremendous excitement as we've now revealed launch date and launch price. We've announced Unity Engine and Unreal Engine. Obviously, the long list of developers highlights that people are excited to develop for the platform. With our launch, with our own first-party games, we'll sustain momentum and create that opportunity for third parties." Now this sounds great, but let's go back to 2013 with the Wii U. Let's see what Reggie said regarding third-party support back then. "From our perspective, as a first-party publisher, as a console manufacturer, our job is to drive the install base, to reach out to a broad range of different consumers, and to create an environment for third-party publishers to jump in, and that's what we're looking to do. A number of third parties are bringing content, and then they want to see us drive the install base, which is what we're doing with all these great franchises we've announced." So if you look at the statement from 2017 and you compare it with the statement from 2013, Reggie's actually saying the exact same thing. It's true that the Switch, the hype is very high. This is indisputable. And the Switch, of course, supports Unity and Unreal, which allows smaller developers and bigger ones too to develop much more quickly, much more easily on the system. However, what he's saying at the end regarding momentum and third-party support is 100% the same. With the Wii U, he said that third parties are waiting for Nintendo to get the momentum going and to increase the install base and push it all forward with their first-party launches. With the Switch, he's saying the exact same thing. With our own first-party games, we'll sustain momentum and create the opportunity for third parties. So it sounds great in theory, but we've been here before 4 years ago. So the question is, can they do it? Can the first-party games actually get the momentum going? The Switch does look like it has a lot of interesting games, but as far as real system sellers, real hard hitters, there's really only two. You have the new Zelda game coming out in March, and you have the new Mario game coming out in holiday season, so most likely November, December, somewhere around there. So the question is, in between Zelda and Mario, is there going to be enough to drive the momentum to keep the install base growing, and will it be enough for third parties to hop on board? They didn't hop on board on the Wii U, they certainly hopped on board on the Wii because the sales were crazy on the Wii. So can the Switch do it? That's the big question. Nintendo does have a lot of really great games announced for the Switch, but will it be enough? Time will tell. That being said, interest is certainly high, as the Switch is sold out everywhere, and even the accessories, which everyone bemoaned, and we all groaned and said they're too costly, they're too expensive, $70 for a Pro Controller, that's crazy, but they're all sold out everywhere. Everyone's interested in the system, everyone's interested in the accessories, so apparently the crazy price point that we all whined about didn't really make much difference. This, of course, is great news for everyone. If the Switch continues to sell out, if the accessories continue to sell out, and if the games continue to sell out, then that means that more systems in the market means more interest, means more third-party games, means more games from Nintendo, and everybody wins.